Let me take you back to April 1943, Rabaul Airfield, New Britain. The sun's glinting off rows of silver Mitsubishi Zeros, lined up like shiny birds on the tarmac. Over by the mess hall, a bunch of Japanese pilots are huddled around a blurry photo taped to the wall. You know what's in that photo? An American fighter, big, bulbous nose, stubby wings. Petty Officer Toshio Oda taps it with his chopsticks and snorts, "Look at that pig. Twice the size of a Zero, half as graceful." You think those Yanks really believe more metal means better fighting? The whole room blows up laughing. Saburo Sakai's there too. This guy's already a legend, 58 kills under his belt. He folds his arms, studies the photo for a second, and says, "Yeah, the engine looks strong, but power don't mean squat if you can't turn. This Hellcat? It'll be easy prey. Our Zeros'll dance circles around it." Across the Pacific, in a Grumman factory on Long Island, workers are bolting together the first real F6F-3. They don't hear those laughs in Rabaul. But let me tell you, they're building something those Japanese pilots can't even imagine. Not a pretty plane. A killing machine. Let's rewind a little more. December 7, 1941. Pearl Harbor. You've seen the footage, right? Zeros screaming out of the clouds, their 20mm cannons tearing through battleships like paper. For the next 18 months. Those planes own the Pacific. Why? Let's break it down simply. Mitsubishi's engineers stripped that thing to the bone. No armor. Thin fuselage. Even used aluminum so light, later they'd say it was too flimsy. But man, did it fly. Climbs 3,000 feet a minute. Turns tighter than any Allied plane. Flies 1,600 miles without refueling. That's like flying from New York to Denver and back, no stops. By 1942, guys like Sakai and Hiroyoshi Nishizawa. They're racking up kills like baseball cards. Nishizawa's called the Devil of Rabaul, 87 victories, more than any other Japanese Navy pilot. American pilots? They dread seeing that red circle on the wings. One Navy guy put it plain, you don't dogfight a Zero. You run, and pray it don't catch you. Nishizawa once shot down 4 Wildcats in 15 minutes over Guadalcanal. Later, he told his crew chief, they fly like trucks. Slow, clumsy. We'll never lose to M. The U.S. Navy? Desperate. Their main fighter then? The F4F Wildcat. Tough little plane, but slow. In 1942, the kill ratio's just 1.1 to 1, basically a coin flip. Something's gotta give. Now, here's a secret the Japanese didn't know, we already had a Zero. Back in July 1942, a young Japanese pilot named Tadayoshi Koga crashed his Zero on Akutan Island, Alaska. He died, but the plane? Almost perfect, engine still works, wings unbroken. We shipped that thing to San Diego, tore it apart, and tested every single part. And what did we find? The Zero's strengths. They're also its death sentences. No armor. One bullet hits the fuel tank, and it blows up. Thin wings. Dive past 350 miles per hour, and they start to warp. Light frame. Go over 400 miles per hour, and it falls apart. Worst of all. That engine overheats after 10 minutes at full throttle, total disaster in a dogfight. Grumman's team, led by Leroy Grumman, the guy who builds iron birds that won't break, got to work. They didn't strip weight, they added it. Let's keep the specs simple, a 2,000 horsepower engine, 50% stronger than the Zero's 1,300 horsepower one. 4 inches of armor around the pilot's seat, enough to stop a 20mm round. Self-sealing fuel tanks, rubber inside that swells up if it gets shot. No more instant explosions. And the teeth? 6.50 caliber machine guns. Each fires 800 rounds a minute. You know what a .50 cal round does to a Zero's aluminum skin? Tears through it like a hot knife through butter. When the first Hellcats rolled off the line in early 1943, the workers had a slogan, "Build them like they're going out of style, and they will be, for the Japs." They weren't kidding. By war's end, 12,275 Hellcats built in 30 months. Japan. They struggled to make 6,000 Zeros in the whole war. Jump to September 1, 1943, Guadalcanal. Saburo Sakai's leading 18 Zeros on patrol. His radio crackles, enemy fighters approaching, 12 o'clock high. He looks up. Freezes. There they are, 6 Hellcats. Bigger than he thought, but moving faster than any American plane he's ever seen. Attack, he yells, shoving his Zero into a dive. First pass. Chaos. A Hellcat zooms past Sakai, guns blazing. Tracers slice through the Zero next to him. You remember Oda? The guy who laughed at the pig? That's his plane. Sakai watches it split in two, spinning into the ocean. Stay together, he yells, trying to rally his guys. But the Hellcats aren't playing by the old rules. They don't turn to dogfight, they climb higher, to 22,000 feet, where the Zero's engine starts sputtering, then dive down at 420 miles per hour. Another Zero goes down. Then a third. Sakai locks onto a Hellcat's tail. Squeezes the trigger, nothing. The American plane rolls left, a move he didn't think a big fighter could pull. The Zero overshoots. Now Sakai's the target. Bullets tear through his left wing, fuel leaking onto the canopy. He yanks the stick, barely getting away. When he looks back, only 10 Zeros left. The Hellcats are climbing away, untouched. That night, Rabaul Mess Hall. No laughs. Sakai stares at Oda's empty seat. Quietly, he says, "That thing ain't a pig. It's a tiger." 2 months later, November 20, 1943. USS Essex, 80 miles off Tarawa Atoll. 22-year-old Ensign Jimmy Flatley's sitting in his Hellcat, hands sweating on the stick. Below, Tarawa looks like a brown smudge in the ocean. But 4,800 Japanese soldiers are dug in there, and the Marines are about to hit those beaches. His radio crackles, "Flatley, your lead on Red Team, protect the dive bombers, then take out those shore guns." He nods, like anyone can see him, and says, "Copy that. Let's go." Engine roars, he lifts off, 11 other Hellcats right behind him. As they get close to Tarawa, he sees trouble, Zeros. 6 bogeys, 3 o'clock low, yells his wingman, Bob Hansen. Flatley grins. Remember the drill, climb, dive, hit hard. The Hellcats zoom up to 18,000 feet. The Zeros try to chase, but their climb rate dies above 15,000 feet. "They're trying to turn with us." Hansen laughs. Flatley lines up a Zero, pulls the trigger. 0.50 calories tear into it, smoke pours out. Smoke on that one. The Zero spins into the ocean. 12 minutes later. Red Team shot down 5 Zeros, lost none. But then they turn to Tarawa, and the real fight starts. Anti-aircraft fire, everywhere. Hansen yells. Tracers zip past Flatley's canopy, red streaks in the sky. He dives low, 50 feet above the water, to dodge the guns. His mission? Take out a 75mm artillery battery that's mowing down Marines on Red Beach. ICM, sandbagged, right by the pier. He lines up the target, hits the trigger. 0.50 calories chew through sandbags, then the gun itself. Got it. But as he pulls up, a bullet slams into his left wing. "I'm hit, but still flying," he reports. On the ground? Marine Corporal John Basilone, Medal of Honor guy from Guadalcanal, watches the Hellcat streak over. That plane just saved our asses, he yells to his men. That artillery battery was killing Marines left and right, now it's quiet. Keep firing, they've got our backs. By noon, Hellcats have flown 127 sorties over Tarawa. Shot down 11 Zeros, destroyed 8 artillery pieces, even strafed bunkers to clear paths for the Marines. But it ain't easy. Ensign Bill Crump's Hellcat takes a direct 20mm hit. I'm going down, he yells. Crashes 500 yards from shore, but a destroyer's rescue boat picks him up 10 minutes later. Bruised, but alive. That night, back on the Essex, Flatley's sipping coffee, left arm bandaged, small shrapnel cut. We didn't just fight planes today, he tells Hansen. We fought for the guys on the beach. That's what this plane's for, not just shooting Zeros, but saving lives. Hansen holds up a piece of shrapnel, size of a fist, from his plane. The Japs thought this Hellcat was a joke. Now they're hiding in bunkers, scared to look up. Tarawa's a bloodbath, 1,696 Marines die. But it's a turning point. For the first time, Hellcats prove they're more than dogfighters. They're lifelines. And Sakai. He gets a report from Tarawa, the Hellcats don't just fight in the sky. They hit our guns, our bunkers. They're everywhere. He stares at the paper. No more laughs. Just fear. 3 months later, January 1944, Bougainville Island. Commander Tom Blackburn standing on the USS Bunker Hill, staring at his Hellcat. Painted on the nose. A grinning jester's face. His squadron, VF-17, that jests, is about to make history. Blackburn's no regular pilot. 30 years old, from Texas. Flew Wildcats in 1942, knows what it's like to be outmatched by Zeros. I lost 3 friends to those planes, he tells his guys before takeoff. Today. We pay them back. Mission, escort bombers to Rabaul, Japan's main base in the South Pacific, and take on whatever Zeros show up. Intel says 30 are waiting. Hellcats climb to 25,000 feet. Blackburn's radar guy, Joe Johnson, says, bogeys, 30 miles out. 28 contacts. All Zeros. Blackburn grins. Time to dance. Remember the thatch weave, stick to your wingman. Now, what's the thatch weave? Simple, but deadly. 2 planes fly side by side. If a Zero chases one, the other dives in and shoots it down. It's like having a backup that always has your back. Zeros attack first, diving from 30,000 feet. Blackburn's wingman, Ed O'Hanlon, yells, "Zero on my tail." 2 o'clock. Blackburn don't panic. We've left. He banks hard, O'Hanlon right behind. The Zero chasing O'Hanlon overshoots, right into Blackburn's sights. Got him. He fires. Zero's engine bursts into flame. 1 down. Then it's chaos. Zeros swarm the Hellcats, trying to turn and outmaneuver M. But the jests stick to the weave. Lieutenant Bob Duncan gets chased by 2 Zeros, his wingman, Dick Crommelin, dives in and shoots 1 down. Thanks, Dick. Anytime. Crommelin says, then takes out the second. Blackburn locks onto another Zero. It tries to turn, but the Hellcat's engine's too strong, he stays right on its tail. You can't run, he mutters. Fires. Zero spins into the jungle below. 2 down. By the time the bombers hit Rabaul, the jests have shot down 17 Zeros. Lost only 1 Hellcat, and that pilot bails out, gets rescued by a Coast Guard boat. That night, Bunker Hill Mess Hall. Jests are celebrating. Blackburn holds up a flask of whiskey. To the Hellcat, he says. She ain't pretty, but she's one hell of a fighter. Johnson nods. That radar saved us today. We saw them coming before they saw us. The Hellcats and /APS for radar. Spots planes 10 miles away, even in clouds. Game changer. Blackburn later writes in his memoir, the Zero was great in 1942. But 1944? It's a relic. Hellcat outflies it, outguns it, outlasts it. And with radar? We don't just fight, we ambush. The jests? They'll shoot down 154 enemy planes by war's end. One of the top squadrons in the Navy. All in Hellcats. Fast forward to June 1944. David McCampbell's sitting in his Hellcat, call sign Mincy 3, on the USS Essex. 29 years old, from Alabama. Already 15 kills. But today? Today's different. His radar guy, Roy Rushing, barks, multiple bogeys, 50 miles out. Zeros, at least 50 of them. Coming fast. McCampbell adjusts his oxygen mask, grins. Let's give M a welcome party. Boys, form up, we hit M from above. Hellcats climb to 20,000 feet, way above the Zero's 15,000-foot cruising altitude, where their engines start gasping. Rushing updates, bogeys at 40. 30, they still don't see us. Flying tight, easy targets. When the Japanese finally spot M. Too late. Dive. McCampbell yells. His Hellcat hits 400 miles per hour, wind howling through the canopy. He lines up a Zero, can see the pilot staring up, eyes wide. Sorry, buddy, he mutters. 6.50 calories roar. Zero's engine bursts into flame, black smoke trailing. One down. Then the Zeros fight back. 5 surround him, trying to box him in, classic Zero move, using their turns to cut him off. But McCampbell knows his plane's strength, power. He slams the throttle, climbs straight up at 45 degrees. The Zeros can't keep up. They're falling behind. Rushing laughs. McCampbell levels off at 25,000 feet, right behind the last Zero. Short burst. 3.50 cal rounds hit the fuel tank. Explodes. 2 down. 10 a.m. He's got 4 Zeros. But the Japanese keep coming. Another 20 bogeys, 10 o'clock. Rushing yells. McCampbell's arms ache, pulling GS'll do that, eyes burning from the sun. But he don't stop. Let's go again. 11:15 a.m. He spots a Zero sneaking past, heading for the Essex. Not today, he growls. Dives, closes fast. Zero's pilot sees him, tries to turn, too slow. McCampbell's bullets hit the fuel tank. Zero blows up. 7 down, rushing counts. When they land back on the Essex. Deck crews cheering. McCampbell steps out, legs wobbly, flew 6 hours. How many total, he asks. Rushing grins, 24. All Zeros. We didn't lose a single Hellcat. Later, in his quarters, McCampbell writes in his journal, Zero was great in 1942. Fast, agile, deadly. But 1944? It's a target. Hellcat outflies it, 400 versus 330 miles per hour, outguns it, 6.50 s versus 220 mms, outlasts it, we fly 3 hours, they run out of fuel in 2. Guys called it turkey shooting today, and they weren't wrong. Japs keep sending pilots, but they're not pilots. Kids. No training. Obsolete planes. Sad, but it's war. On the Japanese side, Lieutenant Takashi Arima, once a promising ace, 12 kills, flies one of those Zeros. He survives, but his plane's got 37 bullet holes, his mechanic counts. Lands back on the Taiho, collapses on the deck. That Hellcat, it's not a fighter. It's a monster. I couldn't shake it. Couldn't hit it. My bullets just bounced off its armor. June 19, 1944, the Philippine Sea. Japan's Navy launches 346 planes. Last-ditch effort to stop us from taking the Marianas. Target, U.S. Fifth Fleet, 15 carriers, 7 battleships, 21 cruisers. Their weapon? Zeros. Mostly flown by kids with 40 hours of training. 40 hours. That's like learning to drive, then being told to race in the Indy 500. On the USS Lexington, radar operator Chuck Moore stares at his screen. Green blips everywhere, hundreds. Contact. 130 miles out, bearing 270. Big formation, 100 planes easy. Heading straight for us. Moore's radar. N/APS-2. Better than the Hellcats, 150-mile range. First time we use long-range radar to coordinate a huge fighter defense. Scramble all Hellcats. This is gonna be big, he yells to the air controller. 120 Hellcats in the air 10 minutes later. Leading M. Commander Alex Vrashu, 24, from Wisconsin, 11 kills already. Listen up, guys, he says over the radio. Split into 3 groups, red left, blue right, green middle. Hit M hard, hit M fast. Don't let one get to the carriers. Hellcats climb to 25,000 feet. Vrashu's radar guy, Frank Daly, says, bogeys at 70 miles. Splitting, 30 here, 70 there. Vrashu makes a quick call, red team, take the 30. Blue and green, hit the 70. Let's go. When the Japanese see the Hellcats? Too late. First group of 30 Zeros. Flying straight, no formation, no cover. Sitting ducks, Vrashu laughs. First pass. Carnage. Vrashu lines up a Zero, fires, watches it fall. 1. Pulls up, spins, locks onto another. 2. A third Zero tries to sneak up behind him, his wingman, George Duncan, shoots it down. Got your 6, Alex. 9:30 a.m. Vrashu's got 6 Zeros. In 11 minutes. Never seen anything like it, he later says. They didn't even fight back. One kid flew straight into the ocean, scared stiff, forgot to pull up. Another tried to land on our carrier. We shot him down before he got close. Lieutenant Bill Hardy gets 5 Zeros that morning. One tried to turn with me, he recalls. I just climbed to 30,000 feet, his engine couldn't handle it. Started to stall, so I dived down and shot him. Easy. Hellcat's dive speed's the key, we outrun M, outclimb M, outdive M. Down on the carriers. Sailors watch in awe. Seaman Joe Miller's on the Yorktown, binoculars in hand. Planes falling like burning leaves, he writes home. Every few seconds, another Zero goes down, smoke, fire, splash. We started calling it the Marianas Turkey Shoot. Brutal, but had to be. If those planes got to the carriers, we'd all be dead. Japan sends 3 waves that day. All destroyed. Let me break down how the radar worked. Simple, ship radar spots bogeys 130 miles out. Hellcat scramble, intercept at 70 miles. Hellcat radar locks on at 10 miles. We shoot down most Zeros before they get within 30 miles of the fleet. When the smoke clears. 346 Japanese planes gone. US loses 30, 17 to accidents, pilots out of fuel, crashing, not enemy fire. That's a ratio of 11.5 to 1. Sakai's in Japan now, teaching kids to fly. Here's the news on the radio. He's in a classroom, 18-year-old staring at him. Slams his fist on the table. This ain't war. It's a massacre. Our fault. We laughed at the Hellcat. Thought skill beat machines. But skill without planes? Without training? Worth nothing. A kid raises his hand, scared. Sir, can we beat the Hellcat? Sakai looks at him, then at the floor. No. Not anymore. 4 months later, October 26, 1944, Philippines. Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, the devil of Rabaul, sits in a Zero. 24 years old, 87 kills. But this ain't a fighter mission. He's flying a transport, carrying a wounded officer to Manila. Wars broke in Japan. Not enough fighter pilots, so aces like Nishizawa fly transports. This is a waste, he tells his co-pilot. Should be fighting, not hauling supplies. Take off from Cebu Island. 20 minutes later. He sees 4 Hellcats, 10,000 feet up. We're not armed, co-pilot panics. Can't fight. Nishizawa stays calm. Dive low, fly under M. Transport slow, but we can hide in clouds. Dive to 500 feet, skimming the ocean. But the Hellcat spot M. They're chasing us, co-pilot yells. Nishizawa yanks the transport into a steep turn, something the slow plane wasn't built for. Hold on, he shouts. Too late. Lead Hellcat, flown by Lieutenant James Overstreet, fires. Transport's left engine bursts into flame. I'm gonna crash. Nishizawa yells. Tries to land in the ocean, but the plane spins out of control. Hits hard, breaks apart. Overstreet circles the crash site. Don't know who's on board, just another transport. Another one down, he says to his wingman. Back in Japan, Navy announces Nishizawa's death. Sakai weeps when he hears. He was the best of us. If even he can't beat the Hellcat, no one can. The devil of Rabaul's dead. So's Japan's hope of winning the air war. Let's talk numbers, simple, no fancy stuff. 1942, Japanese pilot trains 700 hours before combat. 200 in fighters, 100 in mock dogfights, 50 in long-range flights. 1944, 40 hours. Total. Why? Good pilots are all dead, Nishizawa, Oda, Arima. Sakai's old unit, Tainan Air Group. 90% dead in 2 years. Factories. Crumbing. American bombers hit Mitsubishi's Nagoya plant, where Zeros are built, 17 times in 1944. Each run destroys 20% of the factory. Steel production. 740,000 tons in 1942, 200,000 in 1945. Engines. Mitsubishi makes 1,200 a month in 1943, 480 in 1944. Fuel. Down to 10% of 1,941 supplies, most made from pine roots, clogs engines. 1944, Japan builds 28,180 planes total, 12,000 trainers, 8,000 bombers, only 8,180 fighters. U.S. 96,318 planes, 40% fighters, 4,402 of M Hellcats. Grumman's Bethpage factory. 25,000 workers, 10,000 women, Rosie the Riveters. Builds 60 Hellcats a day, one every 24 minutes. Pratt & Whitney makes 3,000 engines a month. Fuel. 150,000 gallons delivered to Pacific bases daily. Pilots. Our guys train 200 hours, 50 in fighters. Practice with radar simulators, saves 100 hours of real flight. Learn the thatch weave, 50 times before deployment. Watch a 20-minute film, How to Kill a Zero. Tom Blackburn puts it plain, we knew exactly where to shoot a Zero. Fuel tanks, under wings, 1 bullet, boom. Engine, oil cooler on right, shoot it, engine seizes. Pilot, no armor, 1.50 cal, done. We didn't go in blind. 1945, average Japanese pilot. Never fired a machine gun in training. Never flown in formation. Some can't land on a carrier without crashing. Take 19-year-old Kenji Yamada. 38 hours of flight time. Sent to Okinawa in April 1945. First mission, attack an American destroyer. Scared stiff, he writes later. Instructor taught me to take off and land, nothing else. Never fired a gun. Never saw a Hellcat. A Hellcat finds him 10 miles from the ship. Came out of nowhere, Yamada says. Tried to turn, but Zero was slow. He shot my left wing off. Crashed into the ocean. Survived, but never flew again. That Hellcat didn't just beat me, it broke me. Knew then, we'd never win. April 1945, Okinawa. Japan's losing, but won't surrender. So they send thousands of pilots on kamikaze missions. Suicide attacks. Slogan, one plane, one ship, one life. Most fly Zeros, modified, extra fuel tanks, fly farther. 550-pound bomb under the fuselage, sink a destroyer. No landing gear, save weight, they'll never land. Orders, crash into American ships. But even this desperate move fails. Why? Hellcats are waiting. Every morning, 100 Hellcats take off from carriers like the Essex and Yorktown. Patrol the skies around Okinawa, the picket line, 50-mile ring of fighters, 12 radar destroyers. Job, spot kamikazes before they get close. April 6, 1945, 1st, Kikyusui, floating chrysanthemum, attack. Japan sends 700 planes. Hellcats are ready. McCampbell's flying patrol. Rushing says, bogies, too many to count. 60 miles out, heading for the fleet. Flying low, hiding in waves. McCampbell's calm, all units, form up. Red north, blue south. Hit M first. Hellcats dive to 500 feet, just above the ocean. McCampbell spots a Zero lower, 100 feet. That one's going for the Franklin, he says. Franklin got hit by a kamikaze 2 weeks before. Chases it, fires. Zero's engine catches fire, but the pilot keeps going, determined to crash. Won't stop. McCampbell yells. Fires again, hits the bomb. Zero explodes mid-air, pieces rain down. Got him. Noon. McCampbell shot down 3 kamikazes. Hands shaking. These guys ain't trying to survive, he later says. Trying to die. Eerie. Shoot their plane, they keep coming. Gotta destroy the whole thing. One had half a wing shot off, still tried to hit the Yorktown. Had to shoot his engine out to stop him. Not all pilots are lucky. Lieutenant Dick Bong, America's top ace, 40 kills, flies a Hellcat over Okinawa April 16, 1945. Testing a new plane, but in a Hellcat that day. A kamikaze Zero slams into him. Both explode. Bong's 24. On the ground, Marine General Simon Buckner watches the Hellcats. Those pilots are our first defense, he tells his staff. Without M, Okinawa's impossible. Every Hellcat that shoots down a kamikaze saves 100 Marines. Buckner dies June 18, highest-ranking American killed in World War II. By the end of Kikyusui attacks, 10 total, April-June 1945, Hellcats have shot down 500 kamikazes. Only 17 American ships hit. Japanese ace Tetsuzo Iwamoto, 80 kills, second to Nishizawa, flies his last mission May 25, 1945. Leads 12 kamikazes, kids, 17 to 18. Told M to turn back, he writes later. Said, too young to die. Go home. Japan don't need your death, it needs your life. But they wouldn't listen. Gotta protect Japan. Duty. Iwamoto shoots down 2 Hellcats, 81st and 82nd kills, but watches 12 students die. Felt like a father watching his kids burn, he says. One kid, 17, cried over the radio before crashing. Scared, sensei. Couldn't help him. Zeros were obsolete. We were obsolete. Hellcats didn't just shoot us down, showed how far behind we were. Ain't courage versus courage. Technology versus desperation. Iwamoto survives the war. Dies 1982, still haunted. Should've saved M. Should've made M turn back. Let's add it all up, no fluff. 1943 to 1945, Hellcats shoot down 5,223 enemy planes. More than any other American fighter in World War II. Lose just 270 in aerial combat. That's a kill ratio of 19-1, one of the best in military history. Break it down quick. Guadalcanal 1943, 120 Zeros down, 15 Hellcats lost. Tarawa 1943, 11 Zeros down, 3 lost. Bougainville 1944, 217 Zeros down, 28 lost. Marianas 1944, 346 Zeros down, 13 lost. Okinawa 1945, 500 plus kamikazes down, 100 lost. Production. U.S., 12,275 Hellcats in 30 months. Japan, 6,000 Zeros in 6 years. U.S. fighters 1944, 38,873. Japan fighters 1944, 8,718. Sakai writes in his memoir, Samurai, we laughed at the Hellcat. Thought, skill, spirit, honor beat machines. Wrong. War ain't about courage anymore. It's about factories, 12K Hellcats versus 6K Zeros. Technology, they had radar, we had nothing. Training, 200 hours versus 40. We had none of that. Hellcat wasn't just a plane, it was everything we lacked. McCampbell, retired Rear Admiral, still Navy's top ace with 34 kills, says it better, Hellcat didn't win the war alone. But it won the air war. And if you don't control the air, can't control the ocean, can't control the land. Hellcat gave us control. That's its legacy. September 2, 1945, Tokyo Bay. Japan signs the surrender on the USS Missouri. Above, 400 Hellcats fly in formation. Thunderous. Pilots dip their wings, saluting the sailors and Marines below. McCampbell stands on the Missouri's deck, Navy Cross and Silver Star on his uniform. Next to him, Saburo Sakai. Invited by the U.S. Navy, reminder of how far Japan fell. They stare at the Hellcats, then at each other. Your plane beat us, Sakai says, English halting but clear. McCampbell shakes his head. No. Our system beat you. Hellcat was just a tool. We had factories to build it, Grumman, Ford, GM. Pilots to fly it, trained the best. Fuel to power it, Texas Oil. You didn't. That's the difference. Sakai nods. Understand now. Thought honor was enough. Wasn't. McCampbell's right. Hellcat's victory wasn't about better engines or more guns. It was about something bigger, a country that turned auto plants into aircraft factories. Ford built 8,000 Hellcat wings, GM 2,500 fuselages. Pilots trained with science, not just guts, 6,000 Navy pilots in 1944, 50 hours in fighters. Tactics that used radar to see first, the Hellcats and /APS for spotted Zeros at night, in clouds. The Zero never had that. What about the Zero? Remembered as Japan's early arrogance. Perfect for 1941, but stuck in time by 1943. Mitsubishi added armor in 1944, but too little, too late. Couldn't keep up with the Hellcat's speed, firepower, or toughness. The Hellcat? Remembered as the plane that ended an empire's terror. After the war, most got scrapped, melted for aluminum. But 24 survive. One's in the Smithsonian, next to a Zero. The plaque says, "This is what happens when courage meets technology. When a nation fights with its mind, not just its heart." 2 planes, 2 philosophies, 1 war. The lesson? Progress beats tradition. Preparation beats arrogance. And in the end, the side that builds better tools, trains better people, and adapts faster, wins. Sakai visits that exhibit in 1979. 65 years old. Stands in front of the Hellcat 20 minutes, staring at its bulbous nose, stubby wings, the pig he once laughed at. Then turns to the Zero, touches its wing gently, like greeting an old friend. Says something in Japanese, too quiet for anyone else to hear. But if you know his story, laughs in Rabaul, fear over Tarawa, sorrow in that classroom, you can guess what he said. Simple. Honest. A lesson we still learn today. We laughed. We were wrong.